Hi, in this video, I want to talk a little bit more about register level programming. I want to talk about what it means, and I want to kind of introduce the philosophy of register level programming. And in the next video, we'll go into one of the modules of the microcontroller and see how we can control it. So let's let me try to introduce this by talking about a washing machine. I could have selected any electronic device, but I think a washing machine is a very common device that you're familiar with, and so we can talk about it. Now, a washing machine would have uh, different modes of operation, right? So it usually washing machine would have a wash control. It could do some spinning and drying, and probably it can also, there would be some other functionalities associated with draining and things of that kind. And each of these functions can further be controlled, right? So you can, if you are in the wash mode, you can select how long the clothes are going to be washed for. You can select the temperature of the water as the washing is happening. Maybe you can do some more fine control. And how do you do all these controls? You do these by pressing some knobs, pressing some buttons, turning some knobs, or maybe if you have a very hi-fi complicated washing machine, maybe typing in some codes so that it recalls some of the programs that are stored in the washing machine. Now, this kind of gives a good segue into trying to understand what microcontroller programming is all about. So, microcontroller is a very general purpose device. It can do so many things. But how do we make sure that it does what we want to do? What are the buttons and knobs that you can press so that it does exactly what you want to do? And of course, in a microcontroller, there are no buttons or knobs, but you have what are called registers. Registers are memory locations where you can write some number, and when you write a number, the microcontroller works in a particular fashion. Okay, so depending on your application, you think, okay, this particular register needs to be written, this number needs to be written in this register, and if I do that, then the microcontroller starts behaving in this particular fashion, and that fulfills that executes the application that I want to execute. So that is basically register level programming. As you can imagine, what you would know for and what you would need to do for that would be two things, right? You would need to know what are the functions that a microcontroller can do. And I think the best way to think about it is not just think about what are the functions the microcontroller can do, but the microcontroller itself can be divided into smaller modules. And we will look at each module, and we are going to look at a few modules in this lecture. For example, you could look at the input output module, or you could look at the analog to digital converter module, or you can look at the timer module, and you can say, how can I modify the behavior of each of these modules? Okay, so to do that, you need to know what those modules are capable of. And then what you need to do is you need to put all these modules together and say, okay, how are these modules all going to help me do what I want to do? So that's what register level programming means. So two things. Firstly, we want to learn. Firstly, we want to learn what these modules uh, can do. So the functionality of the modules. That's what we want to learn. Okay. And the second thing that you want to learn is how to control it. How to control the modules. And the third thing you want to see is how it fits in your big program, how it fits your application. Okay, so these are the few things that we are going to talk about in the next few videos. And the way we are going to do it is we are going to take each module uh, separately and look at it separately, look at what the capabilities are, and then look at how we can control it, and then we'll try to figure out how we can put two or more modules together to make an application.